Oh yeah, I'm gonna need a beer after this one. Ooh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, or good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on what time you are watching this. Knock another one off the best picture list, baby. I'm 6 in and 4 to go, because I just saw The Zone of Interest. So I've been on a bit of an A24 kick lately. I actually just rewatched Beau is Afraid. And let me tell you, that's a great rewatch. I'm not here to talk about Beau is Afraid. That's a whole other discussion, and I have lots of thoughts about that movie, and I don't want to get sidetracked. Anyways, now I'm on to another A24 film, and this is a Best Picture nominee, The Zone of Interest. I didn't know much about it, honestly. I knew it was about the Holocaust. That is pretty much it. First off, I don't know if I was the only one that thought the projector broke. About a minute into the movie, I'm like, is the screen working? Or Oscar nominee movie. Yeah, the artsy, got it. Finally, we see some stuff going on. I'm like, okay, here we go. Introduced to this family. This is the family that we're basically going to be with the whole movie. Dad, I pretty much was referring to as not Bill Skarsgård. The mom, played by Oscar nominee Sandra Hula. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not 100% sure. I was trying to understand kind of this dynamic of this family. You got two boys and they got the two girls. Her mom comes at some point and stays with them. Okay, got it. They got people at the house that are working for them, that are basically their help. I really just want to talk about really what I think this movie does masterfully. You have a movie that's about the Holocaust, and we've seen so many Holocaust movies before. One of the most famous ones is going to be Schindler's List, which pretty much gives you just the nightmarish scenery of what the concentration camps look like. This movie does something that I've never seen before, and I applaud them for it. They don't show pretty much anything of these concentration camps, because that's not what the story is about. The story is ultimately about this family, who the father is this SS officer who is basically in charge of Auschwitz. So this family has clearly been living at this house for a while, and they've become so desensitized to what's going on around them. Now, I was still trying to figure out, do the kids actually know what is going on? Because there's scenes where the dad, and I believe the oldest son, go on like horseback riding, and you can actually see some of the prisoners. There's a scene where they go fishing, and there's the two younger kids, and the dad finds, I think, part of a skull or a jaw, and he quickly gets out of the water and says, let's go, because I don't think he wants the kids seeing that stuff. So I believe the idea is, the father and the mother know, maybe the oldest son does know, or the dad is letting him know more about this because he's preparing him for probably what his role is going to be in this war that ultimately never got that far for him. Going back to what this movie does so subtly is that this family is so desensitized to what's going on. Throughout the entire movie, you hear gunshots going off so often, and yet they barely ever react to it. And you never fully see any of the horror that's going on, which I really appreciate that, because again, that's not the focus of what this movie's about. It's not what's going on over these walls. It's about this family. We see them celebrate a birthday. We see them having a picnic. It's just really simple things like that. But yet the difference is there's all these horrendous things going on less than 100 yards away. And there are just incredibly well done shots. One of the best examples is when there'll be a train. You'll see the smoke from the train. You don't actually see the train. You see the smoke from the train kind of in the horizon. The train is blocked by houses or trees or something, but all you see is the smoke. And that's the interesting kind of point of view that happens, is that they're not even paying attention to the stuff. However, at one point in the movie, probably maybe almost halfway through, the main her mom comes to visit them and stay with them, and she notices these weird things going on. There's a scene where her daughter is showing her the garden. They go and they sit down, and there's gunshots going on, and you can see the grandma reacting like, and her daughter doesn't even pay attention to them. But the grandma, she is noticing this stuff, and she even notices, like, she's trying to sleep at night, and she can see like the smoke coming from the crematoriums. So she actually leaves. Then that's where I want to go next with this. I want to talk about her daughter, played by Sandra Hüller. I think this movie's the one that she got the Oscar nomination for. I didn't even realize that she's also in another Best Picture nominee, Anatomy of a Fall. So she's having a heck of a year. Good for you. But she is wonderful in this movie, because she's all about materialism. You see her early on with this fur coat. At one point, she asks her husband to, like, if he can bring chocolates. And you don't really see too much nasty with her. You just see more of like the material side, until later on in the movie, there's a scene where she's having breakfast and there's an extra plate, and she makes this reference to the housekeeper, basically saying like, my husband can get rid of you if I wanted him to. And that made me think, okay, yeah, you're really just seeing this family. They're not doing anything evil or malicious, and they really don't do anything like that throughout the whole movie. But you know this husband, who's the SS officer in charge of this camp, is doing terrible things and is involved with terrible things. But really, you never see him shoot a gun. You never see him hit anybody. The evil is the subtle things that you're seeing, like him planning for this crematorium, this new crematorium, him planning this big operation at the end. He does actually have a really fascinating line towards the end where he's at this like party and there's all these people around and he's talking to his wife on the phone. He's basically telling her how he was imagining how he could gas all these people in the room, but the ceiling was too high. And I thought, like, wow, this guy is just always thinking about his job, and his job is killing massive amounts of people. But again, probably my favorite element to this entire movie is going to be the subtleness. It's not seeing the prisoners fully. It's not seeing the concentration camps fully. Seeing just the smoke from the train coming in, just seeing the smoke from the crematorium, hearing the gunshots, which you never actually see it. There's a scene where the husband is supposed to be outside the train and all you see is him. It's like a low angle of the husband with his SS officer uniform on, and you could hear off screen all the screaming, and you could tell people are being ripped away from their families and there's gunshots going on, and he's just stone-faced, just looking out, and then the shot is just on him, and it's very well done. It was funny because when I was driving home, I remember I was thinking, was this movie rated R? And it's not. It's PG-13. There was no on-screen violence. There's really no nudity or sexual content besides there's a scene that's implied that he's cheating on his wife with this other person, but all you see is him just sort of afterwards. I don't remember them swearing at all in this movie. This movie is intense and yet not intense at the same time. It's this weird, truly creative balance, and I can understand why this movie did get a lot of Oscar nominations. To be able to make a movie and you don't have to do all these extremes on scene and still make it effective, especially with this type of subject matter, that's impressive. That is very impressive. Anyways, that's my take on the Zone of Interest. A24, he knocked it out of the park again.
Yeah.